How to Talk in English. Liam often felt a knot in his stomach whenever he tried to speak English. He desperately wanted to communicate fluently, but the words seemed to vanish before they reached his lips. How to talk in English, he'd often sigh, the question echoing in his mind as he navigated daily life. His dream felt distant. He watched others converse effortlessly, their sentences flowing naturally, and wondered, learn English, but how? The textbooks felt dry, and the grammar rules confusing. Every attempt felt like a monumental struggle, leaving him disheartened and questioning his own ability to master this global language. One evening, while scrolling online, he stumbled upon an old video titled, "Let Me Tell You Talking Tips." Intrigued, Liam clicked, hoping for a magic solution, a secret shortcut to fluency. The speaker, a kind-faced woman, began explaining simple, actionable strategies for real progress. Her first advice resonated deeply: how to practice English isn't just about studying, it's about doing. She emphasized consistency over perfection, a concept Liam had previously overlooked. He realized his fear of making mistakes had paralyzed his efforts for far too long. He needed a new approach. "Why I always make mistakes," was a common lament for Liam. The video addressed this directly, explaining that mistakes are not failures but stepping stones, essential parts of the learning journey. Embracing errors allows for growth and improvement, rather than halting progress entirely. The speaker then introduced a fascinating concept: learn English through stories. She argued that narratives engage the brain differently, making vocabulary and grammar acquisition more intuitive and memorable. Liam had always loved stories, but never considered them a language learning tool. She recommended starting with simple audio stories, listening repeatedly to absorb pronunciation and rhythm. "Listen and practice," she urged, stressing the importance of active listening, not just passive hearing. This advice felt like a revelation. He had always focused on reading. Liam decided to try her methods. He found a collection of British English stories online, designed for learners. The first few times, he understood very little, but he persevered, following the narrator's voice, trying to discern individual words and their intonation patterns. He started with a short, very interesting story about a London detective. At first, it was challenging, but he committed to listening daily during his commute. He focused on the plot, letting the language wash over him, rather than dissecting every single unfamiliar phrase. Gradually, something shifted. Familiar phrases began to pop out. He started to predict what would happen next in the story, understanding the nuances. His ear was slowly tuning into the distinct sounds and accents of "Let's Talk in British English." It was progress. The video also stressed the importance of speaking. "How to talk with anyone," the speaker had said, "starts with talking to yourself." Liam felt awkward at first, narrating his day, describing objects around him in simple English. He practiced shadowing the story characters. His confidence, though tiny, began to bloom. He imagined conversations, responding to hypothetical questions, correcting his own pronunciation. It felt silly, yet incredibly liberating, to speak without the fear of judgment from others, building his foundational oral skills. One afternoon, he found himself humming a tune from one of the British stories. The rhythm of the language was becoming second nature, ingrained in his subconscious. He realized how powerful consistent exposure and active engagement could truly be for language learning. Liam then sought out language exchange partners online. His first conversation was terrifying. His palms sweated, and his tongue felt heavy. But he remembered the video's advice: everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. Just keep going. He took a deep breath. He spoke haltingly at first, frequently pausing to search for words, but his partner was patient and encouraging. Liam focused on conveying his message, even if imperfectly, rather than striving for absolute grammatical correctness. The goal was connection. To his surprise, the conversation flowed more smoothly than he anticipated. He managed to share details about his day and ask questions about his partner's culture. This small victory fueled his motivation and proved that his solo practice was paying off. He made it a point to listen to more British English podcasts and news programs, even if he didn't grasp every single word. Immersion became his new mantra, absorbing the language from various authentic sources, broadening his linguistic horizons daily. The stories continued to be his anchor. He reread them, listened again, and even tried to retell them in his own words, solidifying vocabulary and sentence structures. Each story became a miniature world where he could experiment with the language freely. Liam noticed a significant improvement in his comprehension. Conversations that once felt like deciphering code now seemed more like understanding a slightly accented friend. His brain was automatically making connections, mapping new information onto old. He started volunteering at a local tourist information center, forcing himself into real-world speaking situations. It was daunting, but the interactions were brief and focused, providing perfect opportunities to practice common phrases and responses with strangers. There were still moments of frustration, moments where he fumbled for words or completely misunderstood something. "Why I always make mistakes," the old thought occasionally surfaced. But now, he acknowledged it, learned from it, and moved on swiftly. His confidence continued to grow, fueled by every successful interaction, no matter how small. He started engaging in longer discussions, sharing opinions, and even debating politely. He was no longer just learning English, he was living it. The talking tips from that initial video had truly transformed his approach. It wasn't about rote memorization, but about consistent, immersive, and enjoyable engagement with the language, building skills incrementally day by day. He even started watching British television shows without subtitles, picking up slang and idiomatic expressions that textbooks never taught. The cultural context provided by these shows deepened his understanding of the language in a very natural way. Liam found himself enjoying the process, rather than dreading it. Learning English had become an exciting journey of discovery, not a chore. The stories he listened to continued to inspire him and provide a framework for learning new words. He sometimes even surprised himself with how easily certain phrases came to him, phrases he hadn't consciously learned but had absorbed through repeated listening. This subconscious learning was a powerful, often overlooked, aspect of fluency development. His ability to talk with anyone expanded beyond formal conversations. He could now make small talk, crack jokes, and participate in casual banter, showing a deeper level of comfort and spontaneity in his English communication skills. The fear of judgment had largely dissipated, replaced by a genuine curiosity and desire to connect. He realized that most native speakers were patient and appreciative of his efforts, making the entire experience much more pleasant. Liam started recommending the Learn English Through Stories method to friends who were also struggling. He shared his journey, emphasizing the power of narratives to make learning both effective and incredibly enjoyable for learners of all levels. He became an advocate for active listen and practice sessions, explaining how simply hearing words isn't enough. One must actively engage with the sounds, rhythms, and meanings to truly internalize the language patterns and nuances. His pronunciation improved dramatically, partly due to mimicking the British accents he heard in his stories and podcasts. He found that focusing on specific sounds made a tangible difference in how clearly he was understood by others. The concept of "let's talk in British English" became more than just an accent preference. It was about understanding a cultural context, a way of expressing oneself that felt authentic and nuanced, adding richness to his linguistic repertoire. He now regularly engaged in online discussion groups, confidently expressing his opinions on a variety of subjects. He discovered that English wasn't just a language for specific situations, it was a tool for endless exploration and connection. The very interesting story about the detective was still one of his favorites, a testament to how engaging content can kickstart a learning journey. It provided him with core vocabulary and phrases that he built upon over time. His initial despair, the constant "why I always make mistakes," had transformed into a self-assured understanding that mistakes are merely data points for learning. Each error provided valuable feedback, guiding him toward greater accuracy and fluency. He realized that fluency wasn't about speaking perfectly, but about speaking effectively and confidently. It was about being able to express complex ideas, understand nuanced humor, and engage in meaningful conversations with people from diverse backgrounds. The journey had taught him patience and persistence. There were no magic bullets, only consistent effort applied to enjoyable and effective methods. His initial question, how to talk in English, now had a multitude of answers. He looked back at his former self, hesitant and withdrawn, and felt a surge of pride. The person who once feared ordering coffee in English could now hold extended debates on global issues, a testament to his dedication. His vocabulary had exploded. He no longer needed to translate every word in his head. The English words and concepts were directly linked, forming a seamless network of understanding within his mind, a true sign of mastery. The structure of English grammar, once a perplexing labyrinth, now felt intuitive. He could form complex sentences naturally, effortlessly applying rules without conscious thought, allowing his conversations to flow with genuine spontaneity. He began to dream in English, a clear sign of deep immersion and comfort with the language. It was a surreal yet thrilling experience, confirming that his efforts had truly integrated English into the fabric of his thoughts. Liam's journey underscored the power of practical, engaging methods over rigid, academic ones. Learning English wasn't just about passing tests, it was about opening up a whole new world of opportunities and human connections. He encouraged everyone to start small, with simple stories and daily listening. Consistency, he preached, was far more important than intensity. Even 10 minutes a day, done consistently, accumulates into significant progress over time. He often thought about that first video, the "Let me tell you" talking tips, that started it all. It wasn't just tips, it was a philosophy of language acquisition that he had embraced wholeheartedly, leading to remarkable transformation. His advice for anyone still struggling with how to practice English was simple: find joy in the process. When learning becomes enjoyable, it stops feeling like a chore and transforms into a rewarding and sustainable habit. He now effortlessly switched between formal and informal English, adapting his language to suit the context and his interlocutor. This adaptability demonstrated a profound understanding of the language's social nuances, beyond mere grammar. The world had literally opened up for Liam. He could travel more confidently, interact with diverse people, and access a vast amount of information previously inaccessible. English had become a powerful key to global citizenship. The initial question, how to talk in English, now had a confident, resounding answer within him: by listening, by speaking, by making mistakes, and most importantly, by embracing the journey with fascinating stories. He realized that every mistake was a sign of effort, a badge of courage for daring to try. The fear that once crippled him had been replaced by a resilient determination, pushing him ever forward towards greater mastery. His story became an inspiration to many, a living proof that fluency is attainable for anyone willing to put in the consistent, joyful work. He proved that learning English doesn't have to be a painful academic exercise. He continued to expand his knowledge, always seeking new stories, new podcasts, and new people to talk with. Learning English was no longer a destination, but an ongoing, enriching adventure, full of discovery and connection. Let's Talk in British English was now second nature, allowing him to appreciate the unique cultural flavor embedded within the dialect. It wasn't just about words, but about history, humor, and a particular way of seeing the world. His ability to how to talk with anyone stemmed from genuine interest and the courage to initiate conversations. He understood that people appreciate effort far more than perfection, fostering natural, flowing interactions. Liam's journey from hesitant beginner to confident speaker was a testament to the power of consistent, enjoyable practice. It proved that immersing oneself in captivating narratives and actively engaging with the language leads to true fluency. He felt immense gratitude for that simple, very interesting story that sparked his journey and the listen and practice advice that transformed his learning. His English journey was a vibrant tapestry woven with effort and joy. So, if you're asking how to talk in English, remember Liam's story. Embrace mistakes, listen actively, tell captivating stories, and speak, speak, speak. Your English journey awaits your courageous first steps today.